What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news and updates. In this one, the Desert Perpetual raid has been completed for the very first time. It's been a very interesting raid race with absolute bullet sponge bosses and, unfortunately, a massive number of bugs. We can right here though share some gameplay of the new raid exotic, which is nice, so we'll talk about that, as well as some other rewards and updates regarding that piece of content. Additionally, Bungie speak about Matter Spark. They offer some suggestions on how to fix issues with motion blur and motion sickness that players are experiencing with that. They also admit that they missed a bunch of patch notes for Edge of Fate, which essentially results in stealth nerfs. That's unfortunate. We have a handful of other things to round up in the video as well though, so guys, if you enjoyed this one, a rating below very much helps me on the channel, but otherwise, let's get into it. World First has been completed in the new raid by Team Nuts. Absolutely massive feat for those guys, given how difficult this raid is, so huge credit there. And thanks to Ham, who was on that team and streaming, we get a better look at the new exotic for the raid. So this is the Whirling Ovation Strand Exotic Rocket Launcher. It has Coronal Culmination, where we hold to charge and release to fire, and charged projectiles have a delayed solar payload. On top of that, the charge speed of the weapon's next shot slowly increases over time, and anticipation builds more quickly as you deal more damage with other weapons. So when we build anticipation up, either by just holding the weapon or making kills with other weapons, it'll mean that we can charge that shot faster. And as we can see right here, before you can actually fire the thing, you have to charge it up as indicated by the reticle. Then it will fire this sort of strand projectile, which shortly after will explode into this significant amount of solar damage. Funnily enough, Ham was actually testing this in the shooting range. The target that he attached the projectile to doesn't actually take any damage. So that's pretty funky, but there you go, that's basically the raid exotic. This will get a catalyst, but it won't be available until the raid gets a challenge update, which is going to be dropping sometime after Ash and Iron in early September. Additionally, through the raid, we get a better look at particular rewards, things like the armor, which is pretty wild, and of course the first heavy crossbow coming into the game. Bungie shared that, but didn't reveal the fact that it is indeed a raid weapon. And interestingly, this has rails as well as, of course, bolts. So definitely a different kind of weapon archetype overall. In terms of post-raid content though, for the moment, unlike what we've seen with other raids, it doesn't look like anything new has shown up on Kepler. It does mean that the normal version of the raid is now available though, which is a positive given how busted contest appeared to have been. There are numerous reports as well that damage was actually wrong in the contest mode. Bungie had said the damage delta would be -25. But early reports suggest it may have actually been harder than it should have been. So that's the first potential issue there. Also, as we can see, numerous complaints about rally flags, where 2 or more members of the fire team wouldn't actually be able to rally for ammo and ability energy, and the only way to fix it would be to return to orbit. This issue actually plagued the entire contest run for many teams, and that's separate to other crashes and bugs that players have encountered during this raid. So, much like Rick Kakis said here, your boy has never felt this hopeless in a contest mode raid. So it's been a fun evening. I'm glad I took the night off, to be honest. The weekend was still mine. There we go. That is the raid stuff. So give us any experiences you've had or early impressions on that new exotic. Keep in mind that while contest is active, certain things from the disabled items list will still be affected. So right now, overall, that includes the Portal's Grappler modifier, the Spirit of the Liar armor perk, and seasonal conquests, as well as all of the weapons and mods that you can see on screen. So just bear in mind, nothing changes on that front yet. Separately though, Bungie have said in relation to Matter Spark that they're continuing to investigate motion sickness issues that this seems to be causing for a handful of people, but they also suggest players may want to adjust their settings to help reduce these issues. So that includes reducing the frame rate cap for mouse and keyboard and turning off motion blur. Those are things worth trying for the moment before Bungie hopefully get some further updates soon. But a few other updates here from Bungie, and they say the Crucible's cutting-edge Clash playlist needs more time in the oven than originally thought, and we're targeting next Tuesday, July 22nd, as the launch date for the playlist. So I think it was meant to be available on the first week, but it's going to be on the second week. They say it needs time in the oven. I'm guessing it's probably bugs or something like that based on how things have gone so far this past few days. Speaking of bugs, or more human errors, I guess, DMG said regarding missing patch notes. Basically, they've been auditing changes to identify gaps in the patch notes that we got on Tuesday. We're looking to get details out on missed notes, and he says, seriously, many apologies here. We never intend to ship stealth nerfs. I understand this has happened a few times before as well, but he says we'd be completely out of our minds if we thought we could slip something under the rug without players noticing. And this was one of the biggest, if not the longest, patch note submissions we've ever had. So we fully acknowledge we missed some big ones here. We don't have specific timelines yet, but Warlock changes are a big one. There's more where we're getting straightened out soon, and some exotic ammo backpack changes were not detailed enough. And he references specific bullets for things like Queenbreaker. So basically, there are an unknown amount of missed patch notes at the moment for Edge of Fate. Good that Bungie have sort of owned up to it, at least confirmed that yes, there is an issue here and players aren't just going crazy. I'm going to say it again, and I'm not just trying to be toxic or negative, but given that Bungie were shipping a DLC, they've got issues with QA testing at the moment and a massive number of system changes all at the same time. Whether you agree with Bungie's specific changes or not, I think it's safe to say that they've overstretched in this update in terms of being able to deliver all of those changes, deliver the new content, and actually make everything work. A certain amount of bugs are expected, but Edge of Fate is just exposing a ridiculous number of bugs at the minute. And like I say, while I don't want to be negative, I also think there are lots of things Bungie are going to have to change in not just small ways, but significant ways, like the power system as it stands, or the relationship with gear tiers and the power system as we move through the rest of the year, because I just think there's a lot of people that are not going to continue to engage with the game with the way the systems are right now over the longer term. Maybe I'm wrong. And where some content creators probably don't want to say too many things like that right now because it might affect their bottom line, you know, making more negative commentary early on. I did the same thing back in episode Echoes where everyone was being dead quiet about some of the issues with episode content. I came straight out and said, I think there'll be a bunch of stuff that players aren't happy with here. Other content creators stayed quiet so that they could rake in the last dregs of positive energy and make some cash, essentially, before a couple of weeks later turning totally sour. So don't be played by any of that nonsense. And also, don't assume that just because I'll highlight the negatives that it means I'm saying Destiny sucks, don't play it. I'm fucking sick of it, man. But I'll just adjust my expectations, play what I enjoy, and wait for Bungie to make changes, because it's gonna come, trust me. So for the moment, anyway, calming down a little bit, it's been a very interesting contest run, hasn't it? Also an interesting launch week. We'll see how things pan out as we move over the next couple of weeks, and as always, you can expect me to keep you posted. Say it like it is, but also respect folks' personal opinions. If you're having fun with the game, that's awesome. If you think things could be better, then that's also an opinion you're entitled to. So keep it locked and loaded if you want to be kept up to date. If you've enjoyed the video today though, a rating really would help us out. And otherwise, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.